Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am frankly FM84. A big thank you for joining me on another video right here on the YouTube channel. Right then, you might have stopped by because you've seen the thumbnail or read the description. Today I'm going to be doing something slightly different on the channel. I have long wondered what would happen if you took a star from the Championship and put them into the top two teams in the Premier League table. So for this one, you might have guessed by looking at the thumbnail, we are going to be doing an experiment where we take Aleksander Mitrovic and move him to Liverpool and Manchester City for a single season. He has had spells in the Premier League before. They've been a bit uninspiring, but it always made me wonder what would happen if he had players like Virgil van Dijk and Ruben Diaz in the defences that he was playing in, and if he was receiving passes from De Bruyne and from players like Thiago Alcantara. So let's show you Aleksander Mitrovic at the start of the game. Here he is. You can see he starts off perfectly good for a Championship striker. He has some impressive technical abilities in his finishing, first touch, heading, passing, penalty taking and technique. He then has some good mental stats. He also is good in the physical department with his jumping reach, his strength. He's 6'2" and he's 12 stone 12. So he has all the attributes that really should need to be a success in the Premier League. However, if we go to the history and look at his career stats, you can see that when he's been in the Premier League, he has been pretty poor. So he started off his first campaign with Newcastle getting 9 in 34. He then only got 1 in 6 for Newcastle before he went out on loan to Fulham. And once Fulham bought him on a permanent transfer, he scored 11 in 37 and 3 in 27 in the Premier League. When you compare that, though, to his Championship record, he got 4 in 25 for Newcastle in the season that they were relegated. And then once he went back into the Championship, he got 4 in 25, 12 in 17, and 26 in 40. And obviously that is building up to this current season in the real world, where he scored 43 goals in a single season for Fulham. So it begs the question, what would happen if we put Aleksander Mitrovic into Manchester City's team and Liverpool's team? It's exactly what we are going to do. So let's jump to the first season sim as we look at what happened when he spent the season at Liverpool. Here we go then. We have jumped to the end of the first season in the game. You can see that Aleksander Mitrovic has been quite successful at Liverpool. We did have to do a few tweaks on the player. I will get this out the way before we start off. You can see that he's agreed playing time. He's an important player. It's the only way we could get Liverpool to ensure registering him for both the Premier League and the Champions League whilst running the sim. I know that in real life he wouldn't go in there as an important player, but it was the only way we could get him to have a full season. With that out of the way, though, let's have a little look at what he's done. So in terms of his finishing, it's actually improved. He's up to 16. His heading's 15. Penalty taking 15. His technique has improved as well, up to 15. The mentals are still great. His balance has gone up to 15. Jumping reach 16. Strength still 17. So in terms of the player that he is, he's not actually going to improve that much. I mean, he's 27 years old now, so we probably were aware of that anyway. But it's this where we are going to really see the difference. So when we go into it, his single season at Liverpool, you can see in terms of the Premier League, he played 38 games, 19 goals, 7 assists, 2 player of the matches, and a 7.18 average rating. Across the season, though, this is where it gets interesting at the bottom. So he made a total of 55 appearances across an entire season, scoring 29 goals, 6 of which were penalties. He had 12 assists, 3 player of the matches, 5 yellow cards, and an overall 7.24 average rating. So Aleksander Mitrovic has been an integral part of a Liverpool team who has done well in lots of competitions too. If we show the competitions tab, you can see that Liverpool, with Mitrovic up top, won the Premier League with an impressive 96 points, and they won it by a wide margin to Manchester United. 79 Man United finished on. They were a full 23 points ahead of Manchester City. They were knocked out in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. They won the FA Cup, and they were knocked out in the third round by Manchester City in the Carabao Cup. But you can see that Mitrovic was their top goal scorer in the FA Cup. However, in the Premier League, Mohamed Salah scored more for them. What else shall we look at? Let's show you the tactic then that we have been using. It's the tactic that I did a video on previously. It's the 80-4-3-3, and you can see that we have just popped Mitrovic straight into the top of the lineup. He's there. He has been locked in. So when we holiday through the season, he would stay at that position. That's how he played 55 games in all competitions and scored as many goals as he did. So this tactic obviously does work. As you saw in the video previously, it has won multiple leagues. It has won the Premier League now with a couple of clubs. And I think that Mitrovic certainly suits this style, as does Liverpool's way of playing. So that's how he gets on when he's at Liverpool. Let's jump forwards and see how he gets on when he plays at Manchester City for a season. We have now then jumped into Manchester City, and again we have simmed one season from the start of the game, so it's 31st of May 2022, and here is Aleksander Mitrovic, exactly the same age as he is at Liverpool because we've stopped on the same day. You can see we again had to put him in as a star player to make sure he was registered for all competitions. Having a little look at his stats then, you can see that not a lot of it really has improved. He's finishing his 16. Technique didn't even improve whilst he was at Manchester City. In terms of his mentals, bravery has actually gone down to 16. I think he did have an injury during this run. Might have affected that a little bit, but in terms of his overall stat, that has dropped off. The rest of the mentals are fine. And again, in terms of the physicals, he still has his jumping reach, his strength, and he's still a decent enough player. But the question is, how did he get on at a season at Manchester City? Okay, because Manchester City have just bought probably the world's best forward, haven't they, in Erling Haaland. How would they have got on if they had Mitrovic in there instead? Not very well. This didn't really work for Manchester City. I will show you the tactic because it's exactly the same in a minute. But Mitrovic's campaign didn't go the way that it did at Liverpool. They played him 29 times. He only scored 7 goals. He had 5 assists and 1 player of the match. An average rating of 6.89. So not too sure what happened. When you look at his overalls, 50 appearances, 20 goals. So he scored an impressive 8 goals in the Champions League, but only 7 in the Premier League. 3 of those were penalties, 9 assists, 4 player of the matches, 4 yellow cards. Overall, a 7.05 average rating. So not as good a season as the one he had at Liverpool, but still it's a decent enough season. I mean, his average rating in the Champions League was 7.31. In the FA Cup, it was 7.16. It's the Premier League that he seems to struggle in. And that wasn't the case at Liverpool, but it certainly has been the case here at Manchester City. Let's show you what happened, though, in terms of the competitions. So Manchester City have actually done a treble. They won the league by 91 points, only a point from Liverpool. So not as impressive as Liverpool's campaign with Mitrovic up top. He didn't top goal scorer for Manchester City. Obviously, that was De Bruyne. He was top goal scorer in the Champions League, as I said. He scored 8 goals as they were knocked out by Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals. In the FA Cup, he wasn't top goal scorer there. That was Bernardo Silva, but they did win the competition. And he was joint top goal scorer in the Carabao Cup with 3 goals with Foden and Mahrez, which they won. And then they also won the Community Shield at the start of the season. So he has been part of a team that's won 4 trophies across an entire season. He hasn't chipped in as much as I thought he would have done. When we go back to the tactic, you can see it's an identical tactic. It's run exactly the same way. He is played in the exact same slot. I guess the supporting cast are different, and that is what it ultimately boils down to. I think that probably his service in the Manchester City part of the video, for some reason, probably wasn't as good as what the Liverpool was. I suppose it shouldn't really be that case with the City squad, but for whatever reason, they couldn't get him firing as Liverpool did, and it seems like Liverpool have got the best out of Aleksander Mitrovic. So that's what has happened in the single season at Manchester City. Would you sign him? I'm not too sure. I think it could work. Obviously not at Man City. He's not a top striker, obviously, but it does prove the theory that the way Liverpool are playing in this game and the supporting cast that Liverpool have around them, Mitrovic can be a success in the Premier League. And I think that ultimately, if you want to go out and sign him, I mean, I had to pay £22 million for each club, I think it was, to get him. Is that exactly right? 20 million for Man City, 22 for Liverpool. So it's a large investment for a player that you're probably not going to get a resale on, and he also isn't going to be that top striker. I think you probably get better deals elsewhere, but on the whole, Aleksander Mitrovic would be better off going to Liverpool, and seemingly FM22 seems to think that he could be a success in the Premier League at Liverpool, but not at Manchester City. That was some interesting reading then, wasn't it? So FM22 obviously predicts that in terms of the 21-22 season, Liverpool could have played with Aleksander Mitrovic up front, gone on and won the league with 96 points, and he would have actually played a pivotal role in helping that team to win the trophies that they did. However, at Manchester City, it states that he basically lives up to the reputation of not being a Premier League player. Not too sure what the main difference was, whether it, again, like I said, it was the supporting cast, or whether it's just the fact he's not a top striker. And Manchester City probably, when they get Erling Haaland, will show the world exactly what a top striker looks like. But for this experiment, I think it turned out pretty well. And you can see also, if you're a team in the Premier League who's got £22 million to spend, and you can get the ball to Aleksander Mitrovic, there is an outside chance that he can come good as a Premier League striker, and that is exactly what we intended to find out. So then, if you're at this point of the video, you've enjoyed today's experiment video, please don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button to help the channel out. I appreciate every single person that has done that for me so far. I really do appreciate it because it helps this channel grow, and it has been growing at such a good rate in the first year and a half of YouTube. I look forward to the journey that is still ahead of us. But for this one, I'm going to wrap it there. A big thank you for watching, and I'll see you sometime soon.